engineering is changing the world, making history and crafting stories that can leap generations and time. While engineers continue to create things that have never been, the world stands and watches. Just think about engineers turning the dream of flying into reality with the creation of aeroplanes. The transitioning of dreams into reality continues, and the world's acknowledgement is seen through today's observance of World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. In today's magazine, we explore more of this observance, and some young Jamaican engineers are making a different tomorrow. I'm Audrey Williams. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, March 4, 2022. The Public Sector Compensation Review, set to begin on April 1, will start with the over 100,000 employees in central government. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says the exercise will also include public bodies. He was responding to questions at Tuesday's meeting of the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament. Regarding the proposed reduction in the number of non-taxable allowances, Dr. Clark assures that no employee in the public sector will be worse off as a result.
To the extent that current compensation includes a non-taxable allowance and the restructured compensation does not include a non-taxable allowance, the restructured compensation on a net basis will not be lower than the current compensation on a net basis.
Dr. Clark explains that the administration undertook a detailed process to create a single job evaluation system, which has led to the development of a new salary scale structure.
And instead of having this 325 scale, we're going to have a much more manageable scale, and there will be a transition from the old into the new.
The finance minister asserts that while the compensation review will lead to levels of remuneration that exceed current wages, it should not be regarded as a salary increase exercise. The exercise, which is intended to overhaul the structure of salaries and other emoluments in the public service to make it more equitable, is expected to enable government to recruit and retain talented and experienced persons in the civil service. Government has identified land in St. Catherine to construct a state-of-the-art correctional facility. Approximately 300 acres of land has been provided by the Sugar Corporation of Jamaica. $98 million has been set aside in the budget to undertake the pre-investment planning phase of this project. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says construction will begin in the 2022-2023 fiscal year on a section of the new facility that will house high-security inmates.
Which is still a challenge for us in terms of prisoners directing criminal activity outside of prison. The correction that was amended to take some action to try and mitigate the problem, but it is a real challenge and we have to go beyond that.
The design of the new facility is being done by the Jamaica Defence Force Engineering Department. Minister Chang says personnel will be recruited and trained to monitor and manage that section until the entire facility is completed. Agriculture Minister Pernell Charles Jr. has announced that with the resurgence of interest in cattle rearing, the ministry will be pumping significant resources into the industry to ensure it continues to rebound. The minister was speaking recently at the annual Red Pole Cattle Appraisal held at Bengal Farms in St. Anne. He expressed confidence that the country would continue to maintain its high-quality breeding stock of the Jamaica Red Pole cattle.
There's a resurgence in terms of the interest in the cattle industry. Many persons are trying to get hold of heifers, and that itself is a primary, reflection of interest in something that we know is going to be a growing industry. So we are paying attention to it, and the ministry is going to be giving the necessary support and resources to make sure that the industry builds back itself with resilience to make its contribution to agriculture.
The Agriculture Minister says he has already started the process of engaging and setting dates to continue the conversation around pricing and market issues, among other considerations. Government is inviting more Jamaican businesses with significant capital to invest in products and services for export. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, says his ministry is encouraging a dynamic mix of local and foreign direct investment to advance the country's economic growth agenda.
Those businesses with significant capital have to and need to invest in this country in meaningful ways to help us advance. Growth requires a relentless pursuit of partnerships that can continue to build on the foundation of strong economic policies.
The minister says there are a lot more opportunities for investment in research and development to create new items that can be consistently produced to increase export earnings.
We are not going to get rich as a country in Jamaica selling to only 3 million people with the kind of per capita income we have. We have to focus on exports.
He adds that companies should also invest in backward integration by also producing the containers for packaging their products, thereby ensuring their businesses are more dynamic and sustainable. And finally, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says there is so far no visible impact of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia on tourism. But he says the potential impact is very strong and government continues to monitor developments in the conflict to determine the extent to which this will affect Jamaica. Minister Bartlett was responding to a question posed during Tuesday's meeting of the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament, which is reviewing the 2022-23 estimates of expenditure. He cites the potential far-reaching implications of the conflict on key areas such as supply chains, fuel cost, access to airspace, and general movement, which are factors that drive tourism.
So to the extent that they are challenged, then movement to us is also going to be challenged.
At the same time, the minister says based on Jamaica's location, the country at times benefits from a repositioning of tourism-related activities such as cruise shipping. He reveals that consequent on the Ukraine-Russia impasse, several large cruise vessels that normally make port calls in the Balkan region and other areas around Eastern Europe are now being repositioned in the Caribbean. Additionally, North Americans who usually vacation in Europe would look to closer destinations such as Jamaica. But the minister was quick to add that though there are often dividends derived from conflict, it is not something desired or celebrated.
It's not a benefit on which we praise ourselves or we preen or indeed we boast about, because we do not enjoy the benefits from adversities. And the pain of others must not be the blessing of ours.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
My advice to persons who are concerned about bladder cancer is noting the commonest presentation is that of hematuria, which is blood in the urine. So if you're seeing blood in the urine, you really should consult your doctor and you should consult your urologist. Also, if you're having other urinary symptoms such as urgency, meaning you have that strong desire always to have to rush to the bathroom or going very frequently, or getting up often at nights, and you really should consult your urologist. If you are in the industries that put you at high risk, then you should be very aware that you're maybe at an increased risk. So if you're a smoker, if you work in the textile industry, or you're a painter, or any of the other industries with prolonged exposure to chemicals, then you should be very aware of the risk of bladder cancer. And it is something that you should have a conversation and the relevant investigations if you have any other signs or symptoms for bladder cancer.
Herbert Morrison Technical High School is nurturing the creativity of young minds through its engineering club. From forging technology from a sandbox to adding acceleration to their own go-kart, what they're doing is futuristic and innovative. We met with the club some time ago, but the inspiring and revolutionary threads running through the story makes it one worth sharing at just about any time.
All right, Anna Hugh, would you like to demonstrate how rains along a ridge? Excellent job, Anna Hugh.
This is the augmented reality sandbox created by the engineering club at the Herbert Marcy Technical High School. This is one of the 5 projects that will be shown in today's episode of School Zone. Stay tuned after the break for more.
School Zone, School Zone, School Zone, School Zone, School Zone, School Zone.
Welcome to another episode of School Zone. As you heard earlier, we're here at the Herbert Marcy Technical High School in St. James, where we're learning about a few projects by the engineering club. First up on the program is the AR Sandbox. And joining me is the geography teacher here, Mrs. King-Cook, who will be telling us more about this.
The AR Sandbox is actually a technological tool that casts or projects virtual reality onto sand. So it is actually a simulation of topographical features that you can actually manipulate as you move the sand. It is one of the most student-centered tools we have at Herbert Marcy. Students can actually interact and move the sand, and at the same time they can learn and have fun. Before we get to the actual secret of how it operates, there are some things that I would like to show you in terms of how the tool is used. We usually have flat maps that we use. We call them ordnance survey maps. Those maps are two-dimensional. And students have limitations when those maps are concerned. Where the AR Sandbox is concerned, students can actually interact with the box and create the features that they would normally see on a two-dimensional map. That excites them, and that also enhances and complements the geography as a learning tool.
Really, it's really simple. It's only 3 main pieces of equipment. An infrared camera that we call the eyes, a projector, and a computer that compiles the information. So the camera judges the depth, which sends that information back to the computer. The computer processes this and sends it back to the projector, which shows you what you see here. And seeing as we use the computer, we can put different functions on. So different keys have different functions. For instance, the 1 key would introduce more liquid to the environment, while the 6 key would change the type of liquid. So we can change it from water to lava to green moss to snow, back to water.
So Ms. Clark, here we have the HERBIE GO-KART. It was a project that was started a couple of years back by other students of the engineering club, but wasn't finished because of financial strains that they had. So I and others finished the go-kart as best as possible. As you can see here, we have here the gas pedal, which accelerates the vehicle, the kart, when we apply pressure on the pedal. Then we have the brake pedal, which is used to apply friction to the wheels, which slows down the kart. Then we have the steering, which steers either left or right. Now around here, we have the engine. This is a Honda GX 120 6.5 horsepower engine, and this kart is a dead axle go-kart, which means that it is run by only 1 wheel. Over here we have the remote kill switch, which I programmed myself, which is used to turn off or turn on the kart from a remote distance. The kill switch is more like a safety device. As we're speaking about safety, here you can see we have our helmet, and safety always comes first. And I like to add that the main purpose of this go-kart is to help persons of the Herbert Marcy Technical High School to learn how to drive, so that when they leave high school they can have their driver's license.
Mr. Cook?
Hi, Ms. Clark.
Thank you for having me.
My ma'am.
All right, so we're now at the buzzer system, and Mr. Cook, the president of the engineering club and teacher here, will be telling us more about this.
This buzzer circuit here is no necessarily special buzzer circuit, but it has an additional feature. It has a referee here, basically, which basically indicates who buzzed first. So if Team Red buzzed first, that signal is sent to this circuit board, which turns on the red light. When the red light is turned on, it prevents the blue light to turn on whether or not the blue team is pressing. So, Ms. Clark, we're going to give you a practical demonstration of how these circuit boards work. Team blue, ready? Yes, sir. Team red, ready? Yes, sir. Listen for me carefully. What is the capital of St. James? Obviously. Team blue is up first. Team blue.
Yes, sir. Montego Bay.
Montego Bay, York, Montego Bay is correct. So we decided that we wanted to make a board, and make a board that is futuristic, an upgrade from what we had before. We also made it on a next basis. As a teacher, I wanted to have students to do activities, creative activities, because there are times when the activities is boring in their view. So I wanted students to get a feel of what it's like to be on School Challenge Quiz in my class without being on School Challenge Quiz.
Have you ever heard about 3D printing, sublimation printing, and laser engraving? If not, today is your lucky day. We have examples of all three that were produced by the Engineering Club, and we'll be joined by Conrad, who will be showing us examples of these. Over to you, Conrad.
Okay, thank you. So here we have different products and items that were created in the laser engraver. So we have different keychains and necklaces, even little award plaques. These were all done in the laser engraver, which, as its name suggests, uses a laser to chip away at the materials put in, which is usually acrylic or Solitex. Here we have medals that were given out at Sports Day. These were put into the heat press, which is a sublimation machine, and it basically transfers the gas to a solid, which is displayed in the center. Here we have one of my favorite things, the edgelit lamp. Now these edgelit lamps are two parts. So the main part is the acrylic, and the second part is the base. Now the acrylic is done in the laser engraver, like all our acrylic pieces, and the bases. Some of them are pre-owned, some of them were purchased, while some of them were created by our wonderful 3D printer. Now this 3D printer can do a marvel of things. It can create little keychains and trinkets, it can create full-blown machine parts, and it can even create functioning toy vehicles. What it does is it melts a small wire of filament, and through a little spout takes its time and works its way up, printing from bottom to top. I'd like to add that these pins and keychains and trinkets that we make, we don't just keep them for ourselves, obviously. We sell them to the school at a discounted cost, and we sell them to other schools and institutions at lower costs.
Thanks again, Conrad. So we only have one more interesting project for you, and that's the virtual tour of the Herbert Morrison Technical High School. And our friend here, Anthony, will be taking you through that tour.
Today we are showing an interactive simulation of the school. It incorporates different things from different members of the engineering club. Today we have Kobe Jordan. He's our 3D modeler. He designs our characters. What he has here is the principal he's working on, the principal of our school, Mr. Adams. All right, we also have Marcus Cohen. He works on the full model of the school, all the details of the school. He went out and got pictures and measurements of the entire school and then recreated it in a 3D software. Then we have Kevon Lee, our texture. He takes the models and applies realistic looking materials to them to make it look as realistic as possible, having all the scratches and dents of the school. And I do the programming. It allows for the character movements. As you can see, you can walk around the 3D space as much as you want. You'll see the AI, like different students on the school walking around, going about their daily lives. The code allows them to move around the 3D space. After I get the models from KJ, our vice president and 3D modeler, you can see the school is to scale. As you can see, when you stand up, you are to scale to the school. So are the characters in the simulation. Here is the document center for a school. Down there, the area that we are looking is the visual arts area, and over there is the TD rooms. So you can see it's a fairly accurate model of the school.
Boy, it's so sad that we have to close the program for today, but I know you will all agree with me that we had a fulsome time here at Herbert Marson Technical High School. But just before we close the program, we have a quick question we want to ask the president and founder of the 3-year engineering club. Why all of this? I've never seen anything like this. They're cut above the rest. Why?
As a teacher of electrical technology, I have seen a lot of talent in my years of teaching. I just think that it is my duty to help bring forth that talent.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cook, and all the best. I have great expectations for the club. And that's it. To have your school featured in School Zone, simply email me at sclark@gis.gov.jm. I'm looking forward to see your email. Until then, take care.
School zone, school zone, school zone, school zone, school zone, school zone.
We can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right. Antibiotics, antibiotics. Come let me tell you how to take them right. Only take them from professionals with medical credentials. Do not share them with friends or relations. Use prescriptions, follow instructions. Take them till them done with no interruptions. Bad bacteria we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right.
Brought to you by the UWI Mona, Ministry of Health, National Health Fund, PAHO WHO.
We are on the cusp of a new era in science, energy, and technology, and engineers are important stakeholders in this journey.
Government is encouraging more Jamaicans to pursue academic studies and careers in STEM areas such as engineering. Engineering has been around for ages, but the profession could not have been more relevant to society.
Engineers don't just work with machines, designs, and electronics. They use maths and science to provide innovation and inventions that shape our society and improve the way we live and work.
The field of engineering can be broken down into 6 main categories, the oldest and most popular of which is civil engineering. Civil engineers design and construct large structures such as roads, buildings, airports, and bridges. Just take a look around. It is undeniable that civil engineers play an integral role in society, and as such, more universities are offering programs that will equip students with the skills and knowledge they need to meet the increasingly sophisticated engineering demands of clients. One such program is the recently accredited bachelor's degree in civil engineering at the University of Technology. The 4-year program not only imparts basic engineering knowledge, but it also allows students to specialize in their desired civil engineering fields.
At the end of the program, their final year, they can specialize. So they can specialize in structural engineering, transportation engineering, environmental engineering, construction engineering.
The students are also given a final year investigative group project, whereby they present their findings and solutions to heads of the department and members of the wider construction sector.
We had persons from the group or groups that came out ahead of others. So we had first place and the second place. We also had a third place. We just recognized person for doing well.
Hi. My name is Chanel Roy, and my group members and I were given the task to design a hospital and epidemiology center to be placed in Western Jamaica. So the approach that we took was to design a radial ward that comprised of 4 wards, of course, to ensure that we have maximum capacity. So on Ward A, we have maternity. On Ward B, we have neonatal. On Ward C, we have physical therapy. These are just some of the services on each of the wards. Of course, it's a 5-floor hospital. And we have an underground basement as well for medical equipment and medical vehicles. As it relates to structural engineering work, we design a composite slab using steel mainframe reinforcements. We designed for earthquake loading. We did our sustainable drainage design. We utilized our mixed design knowledge as it relates to designing porous concrete of various layers, subgrades and layers, etc. to ensure that we have an efficient and sustainable system.
Hello, my name is Justina Gale. My group members and I designed a football stadium and complex to host a football tournament. For the stadium, we designed 3 tiers, which is basically 3 levels for the spectators, which are 60,000 spectators, which we designed for them to see. The sports facility that was designed for including facilities such as a netball court, a basketball court, swimming area. We looked at some issues at the current National Stadium and also the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium, and we said, why not design something with more seating capacity to be able to accommodate more people and to have some special features so we can have international people to come and support.
Did you know that in 2010, the United Nations declared the access to safe, adequate, and clean drinking water a human right? My name is Sharifa Cohen, and my team and I designed a water treatment facility and pipe network to supply Negril and its environs using the Cabarito River as source. So our treatment plant is a traditional filtration plant, but one, I always tell people, it cannot be contemporary if it's not sustainable. So our treatment plant aims to be closed-looped in that it uses indigenous material such as bamboo and coconut husks, and it also recycles the waste from the plant so as not to pollute the environment further. It has a concrete gravity dam that has a reservoir behind it that will store the 15 million gallons a day that we deduce that the town would require. So with refinement, we hope that we can propose this to the government.
I am Giovanni Walker, and my group and I designed a model for the relocation of the residents of the Almantown community. As you might know, the government has a overzone project, which is a plan to have the ministries in a centralized location. So with that being said, this plan will effectively remove 40 acres of the 50-acre site surrounding the National Heroes Park. And for that reason, the many commercial or residential buildings surrounding the park will have to be demolished, and Almantown falls into residential category. So my group mates and I decided that we will propose a solution for this very relevant issue. So we have decided to use 7 apartment buildings to relocate approximately 1,260 residents based on the statistics of a survey that was conducted. Our proposed relocation site is an approximately 86,000 square meter area plan at Upper Camp. We decided to use that site because it falls within a 5-mile radius so as not to greatly exaggerate the livelihood of the residents of the Almantown region.
So there you have it. It's evident that these students are on the right path to becoming outstanding civil engineers in the near future. If you're a high school student who is considering a career in civil engineering, then the Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering at the University of Technology is definitely a viable option. Here is what you need.
5 CSEC subjects and 6 units from CAPE. 2 units in mathematics, pure mathematics usually, 2 units in physics, and 2 units in something that is related, modules or subjects are related to the sciences.
We can all engineer a better tomorrow, even if engineering isn't your area of focus. I hope you were inspired by the efforts of those we encountered today to make some change in some way. I wish we had more time to share some more stories, but when time ends here, you can connect with us on the different social media platforms. Engage with us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages, and also visit our website and YouTube channel for far more content. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.